Hello, students. Today I'd like to review metric conversions with you. Looking at our major chart here that we utilize for making the conversions, just some quick reminders before we work through some of them today, that as you go from a large unit of mass or volume or capacity, so a larger unit down to a smaller unit, you will be multiplying by 1,000 for every unit you go down, okay? And that means your values will continue to get larger as you go down the scale, okay? If you are going up the scale, you're going to be dividing by 1,000. The numbers should be getting smaller. So if I come from milliliters to liters, if I'm going up, I'm dividing by 1,000. And if I'm going again from liters to kiloliters, I would divide by 1,000 again. In other words, the numbers get smaller each time. Think of it this way: it takes lots of small units to make one large unit. And if you are looking at going from a large unit to a small unit, if you break that large unit apart, you're breaking it down into smaller pieces. I always think of like a massive boulder that would weigh many, many tons. If you hit it with a sledgehammer and kept breaking it apart, you would keep breaking it down into gravel and different small pieces of rock. Many, many, many different small pieces of rock. Okay. So if we look over here at some of these conversions, we have 1,567 milligrams. We're going to go to grams. Well, that's actually going to be moving up to a larger unit, from a small unit to a larger unit. So we're going to be going to the left on this one, okay, which means our values are going to get smaller. And it's from one unit to the next, right beside each other in a scale. So milligrams to grams. So we would be dividing as we go up. We're dividing by 1,000. Okay, so if I go back to the chart here, I can write out my number. I have 1,567. And as you know, the decimal is here in a whole number at the end of the far right. And we're moving 3 place values. It's 3 place values left. So 1, 2, 3. Our new number is 1 and 567 thousandths of a gram. Okay, if we look here, we have kiloliters and we're going to milliliters. Well, that means we're going down. So we are going down on the scale. We're going down 1,000 to, we're going to be multiplying 1,000 by 1,000 to get to liters. And then we have to multiply by 1,000 again to get to milliliters. So what that means, which is really interesting here, is we're going to be multiplying this by 1,000,000, or we're going to be moving the place value the decimal place 6 place values to the right. So this instance, we're going to the right. Okay. And it's 6 place values. 3 to milliliters, from kiloliters to liters, and then 3 more from liters to milliliters. So it's 6 PV place value. So if I write my number out, I have 2 and 312 thousandths. But now I'm going to move it 6 place values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we put our decimal here, and we fill in the holes with zeros. So our new number is quite large. We have 2,312,000 milliliters. All this is multiplying by powers of 10 and moving the decimal place, a variety of place values depending on the power of 10 that we're using. If we look at tons to kilograms, well, it's a larger unit. Tons to kilograms, we're going to multiply by 1,000. So we're going to move it to the right. 3 place values. Okay. And we started off with 5 and 4/10 of a ton. So we now move it, those place values, 1, 2, 3, put your decimal in, and now we have 5,400 kilograms. Last but not least, we're going from grams to tons. Now, if we look back at our chart, grams to tons is actually a big move. If we go from grams to kilograms, we would divide by 1,000. And then we'd have to go from kilograms to tons, we'd have to divide by 1,000 again. So you're actually going to be dividing by 1,000,000 or moving the decimal 6 place values to the left because the number is going to get smaller. So right away, I'm going to identify that we're going left this time. And it will be 6 place values. So we start off with 456 grams, and we'll put our decimal in. And we're going to move it 6 place values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put our new decimal and a 0 in front for good measure. Okay, and that would be our answer. Now, sometimes you'll be asked if something's greater than or less than. So right away, we can look at something like, whenever you deal with these types of questions, you have to make sure that they are in the same unit to compare them. Okay, so if we look at 345 kilograms to 34 milligrams, well, we should know right away that kilograms is much larger than milligrams. We can just look at that and know that if we're dealing with kilograms, it's not even close. The milligrams would be in the millions to be a comparison to kilograms. But what about something like this, where it's 24 meters cubed and 240 centimeters cubed? Well, if we're going to look at our chart, if we go from centimeters cubed to meters cubed, well, we actually have to we can take the meters cubed and turn them into centimeters cubed. However, as we go down, you can see that we're going to multiply by 1,000. And then we'd have to multiply by 1,000 again, because we're crossing down from decimeters cubed to centimeters cubed. So what that means is we are going to do 24, and we would actually be going to the right 6 place values to get it from meters cubed to centimeters cubed is 6 PV right. Okay, so when we move that, we're going to create a big number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we actually have 24 million centimeters cubed. It's not even close. So this is obviously larger. What about 1 ton and 1 kilogram? Well, I'm going to convert tons to kilograms. Well, when I look at the chart, it tells me tons to kilograms. Okay, I'm going to multiply it by 1,000. I've got to go from one unit to another. Okay, so it will be 3 PV, or right 3 PV. You can just do it like that. So 1, 2, 3. Well, what do you know? We get 1,000. So they are actually equal. 42 kilograms and 5,678 milligrams. Well, the milligrams, there's a lot more there than what we're used to seeing with the kilograms. So what we need to actually do is perform the conversion. Now, kilograms to milligrams would be 2 units down. We go times 1,000 times 1,000 again. So it's going to be times 1,000,000 or 6 place values to the right. Always try to go to the smaller unit. You'll find that much easier because you're not dividing. You're just multiplying. Okay, so if I put 42 here for 42 kilograms, and I know kilograms to milligrams is 6 PV to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which, believe it or not, gives us 42 million milligrams. So obviously the kilograms is the larger value. And remember, the mouth always opens to the larger value when you're doing things like this. What happens though if you get a question such as this? Place the following masses in order from least to greatest. Well, to do this, we actually have to put them all in the same unit. Now, my suggestion would be to go to grams. There's two of them in the grams, and so we could just drop them down. If you think back to how we used to do the conversions with fraction, decimal, and percentages, we'd all go to percentages. In this instance, go to the lowest unit that's here. That way you're always multiplying. It should be much easier for you to work on. So if I'm going to go kilograms to grams, I know that kilograms to grams is would be times 1,000, right? So that means I have 1, 2, 3. Now I have a new number here. I have 13,800 grams. This one's already in grams, so that's easy. So 987 grams. That stays there. Now, I had said earlier, go down to the lowest unit. We could have gone to milligrams, but I would go up from milligrams just to grams. And this is the one instance I would do that, just because I think it would be easier for what you're doing. If I go milligrams to grams, it's divide by 1,000, right? Because we're going up one unit. So that gives me right away 12,345 milligrams. And what I'm going to do is the decimal would be here at the end of a whole number, but divide by 3. So now I have 12 and 345 thousandths of a gram. All right. Tons to grams. Well, tons to grams, sorry about that. Tons to grams would be going down 6 place values. So we're going to multiply by 1,000,000. So if we have 8 times 1,000,000, we get 8,000,000 grams. This one here, we are going to go down, we're going to multiply by 1,000 here, because kilograms to grams is times 1,000. We know that from our chart. We're only moving one place value, which would be, oops, there we go. And if we move the decimal 1, 2, 3, we now have 3,257 and 68 hundredths. And here the 2,789 grams, I would make grams here, comes down. So now it's pretty easy. We want to look for the smallest value. And actually, this would be the smallest. So 987 grams. The second smallest, actually, that was incorrect. See, and that's where sometimes I go a little fast. That's incorrect because this one would be the smallest. And the reason being is that we are looking at 12.345 grams. So we would actually, this would be the smallest. So we have 12,345 milligrams is the smallest. This would be number 2. Which would be 987 grams. The third largest would be here, which would be 2,789 grams. Okay, so we've used that one, we've used this one, we've used this one. Now, we would be looking at this here, number 4, because we have 3,257 and 68 hundredths of a gram. So in this instance, it was this value in kilograms. Then we have this value here. So this was 4. Here's 5. 13.8 kilograms. And last but not least, number 6 gives us 8 tons. Okay. Thomas dropped off 2 packages to be shipped. One packaged weighed 1.38 kilograms, and the other package weighed 728 grams. What's the combined weight of both packages in grams? So we have, let's start this off. We have 1 and 38 hundredths of a kilogram. And we're supposed to combine weights. We're going to have to add it at 720 grams. Now, they want the answer here in grams. So what should we do? Well, this value here, we need to convert to grams. So what we would do here is we're going to go to kilograms, to grams is times 1,000. Or 3 place values to the right. So we have to do the conversion here. So if I write out 1 and 38 hundredths of a kilogram, what I need to do is move it 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. Here's my new value. And so you can see that now I have, and that would be in grams. So my new totals would be 1,380 grams plus 720 grams, which we add this up. We have 2,100 grams. So as a quick reminder, as you're working through, remember anytime that you're working with values from different units, you must convert them to the same unit. My suggestion, especially up here in this question or type of question, is convert to the smallest unit. If it's milligrams and you're dealing with mass, my recommendation would be go to grams, because that way everything is within at most moving at 6 place values. If you start going all the way down to grams, you could have to move some values 9 place values. The numbers get extremely large and harder to work with. So I would go to grams even if you have milligrams. Grams is a good place to go. Same would apply if you're dealing with capacity. If you converted everything to milliliters, then the biggest conversion would be from kiloliters to milliliters, because you'd have to go to liters and then milliliters. Okay. As always, go back and have a look at the charts to remind yourself, oh yeah, as I go down from a larger unit to a smaller unit, it's times 1,000. If I'm going down 2 units, it's times 1,000,000 or 6 place values. And if I'm going up from a small unit to a large unit, I'm dividing by 1,000, or I'm moving the decimal 3 place values to the left. If you're going up 2 units, you're going to be dividing by 1,000,000 or moving the decimal 6 place values to the left. Hopefully this helps.